During the period when I went quiet recently, for reasons which I'll probably reveal later, later on this month, there was a very fascinating interview on NTV featuring Deputy President William Ruto. Now, one of the reasons why this interview was fascinating is that Bwana Ruto took the opportunity to completely cancel out all the noise his foot soldiers have been making. He contradicted everything that they've been saying. That the House of Mumbi actually has a debt that they should pay Ruto, because Ruto made Uhuru president. The deputy president also said that if he was to walk into the sunset today, he'd still be very proud of the achievements he's managed so far. Now, let's not be naive. What the deputy president was doing here, he was not proving that the press have misquoted his foot soldiers. He was not proving that every strategy that the Ruto camp has been using has been misquoted by the press. He was not trying to say that everything we have heard with our own ears, even from Bwana Ruto himself, we did not actually hear. Actually, what was happening is something very significant. A change of strategy in the Ruto camp. A change of strategy from what to what? That's a question that comes to mind. Another question, will this new strategy work and actually get Deputy President William Ruto into State House so that his title changes to President William Ruto? Will it work? Now, the only reason to change a strategy is if the old strategy does not work. So again, something else very significant we should take home from this much hyped interview, which people have been talking a lot about, is the fact that the old Ruto strategy failed. Yep, and that's a fact. Why did it fail? What caused it to fail? What were the factors at play here? Now we're going to answer all those questions, immediately after the short upcoming commercial break. You don't want to miss this one. Welcome back. Now, the reason why the Ruto strategy failed was that the Ruto camp were caught unawares. If I can take you back very quickly, very briefly to what happened, Ruto and Uhuru were forced together. They had no choice but to unite against the formidable opposition. The formidable NASA opposition led by Raila Odinga, that indeed won the August 8th general elections. I say they won the August 8th elections because had they lost those elections, then the servers would have been opened by now. The secrets even hidden inside those servers are secrets because the actual results which were declared were not the real results, and there should be no debate about that. And so, if things had remained the same, the Ruto strategy was very simple. Just make sure the Uhuru Kenyatta government holds on to power at all costs, deal with the opposition, and then when it comes for time for President Uhuru Kenyatta to retire, then Ruto would easily ease himself into the presidency. This would be a foregone conclusion because in case they did not have the numbers, and indeed the figures prove that they would never have the numbers. Yeah? In case they did not have the numbers, then the solution would have been simple. It would have been easily possible for somebody to do another pop, 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 and Ruto would be president. But things went terribly wrong when master political strategist, whatever you think about him, whatever you want to say about him, it is a fact that he's a master political strategist. Bwana Raila Odinga made a move that left everybody confused. Now it has come to my attention since then, and this is some very new information, that shortly before Uhuru Kenyatta made the deal with Raila Odinga, or shortly before the handshake, the TNA wing of Jubilee was under a lot of pressure from the URP wing of Jubilee. The Ruto camp was pulling around its weight. Yeah, they were often telling their colleagues, the Mount Kenya colleagues, that we helped you win the elections. Without us, you would not be here. Therefore, you must do this, you must do that, etc., etc. And the huge political danger here was that it would take just a small rebellion from URP, to completely defeat the government side every time. Because if URP were to rebel against the TNA wing of Jubilee, you would be sure that NASA would join them, and they would have the numbers in parliament, and they'd be able to do virtually almost everything, including impeaching a sitting president. Looking back, we can now say, in very clear terms, that Uhuru Kenyatta needed the handshake much more than Raila Odinga needed it. And that is a fact. Anyway, what complicated matters more for DP William Ruto was that the agreement made between President Uhuru Kenyatta and His Excellency Raila Odinga was secret, and between the two of them. To this day, many months later, we do not know most of the facts, most of the details about the deal they made. And of course, this has been very deliberate. But then the URP wing of Jubilee, those guys are also smart. They're able to read between the lines and know that this handshake was not going to work unless URP were completely put out of the picture. They may not have known then how URP is going to be put out of the picture, but they do now. They do not have the complete picture yet. Indeed, no Kenyan has the complete picture yet. We can only speculate. But at least they have a pretty good idea of the direction Kenyan politics is going. So politically speaking, and without any emotions, it was very important for the URP wing of Jubilee to completely frustrate the handshake as much as possible if they were to survive. And this where the first strategic mistake of DP William Ruto came into play. Now, even if you worship William Ruto, the truth is William Ruto is human. And humans make mistakes. Even some of the best people at what they do sometimes make mistakes. Now, in my view, this is the biggest political mistake of the career of William Ruto. What mistake was that? The mistake was to use threats, to use threats as their main political weapon to deal with the threat that came into play with the handshake. You Mount Kenya guys, you owe us a debt. You must pay that debt. The debt must be paid at all costs. Anybody who thinks that the debt of one William Ruto will not be repaid is dreaming, etc., etc. Now, as I've often said on this channel, those threats were not targeted at Kenyan voters. They were not targeted on Kenyans. They were targeted at the Mount Kenya wing or the TNA wing of Jubilee. However, the political effect it had, because these threats were being made in public, the political repercussions it had, in my view, DP William Ruto will never be able to recover from. Because what has happened, all the venom from voters that was directed towards the Jubilee Party shifted quickly and has now been directed towards the DP William Ruto camp. The Orange Democratic Movement, or simply the ODM party, has warmed considerably towards Jubilee. What this has done is to completely isolate the URP wing of Jubilee. And it has even done more than that. It has brought into sharp focus the character of one William Ruto. So much so that when the fight against corruption came into play and the lifestyle audits came into play, in the minds of the vast majority of Kenyan voters, the people who are the biggest culprits are the URP wing, and especially their leader, William Ruto. This has brought into very, very close attention of the public questions. The first and leading question is, how did William Samoei Ruto make his fortune? Where did he get all that money? And indeed, this is the kind of question that will not go away tomorrow. And in my view, it is the kind of question that has already ended the political career of William Ruto. Indeed, it is the kind of question he cannot shake off. It is the kind of question that will always be hanging around his neck, even assuming everything continues to be the same until we go into the 2022 polls for the presidency. It is something that will eat away at his votes like nothing you can imagine. Because all his opponent needs to do is ask the voters, how did my opponent make his money? And that's the end of the story. Now, let us assume that we're in the William Ruto camp, and let's put on our thinking caps. Supposing you're in the William Ruto camp, and you're thinking politics, what would you do to save William Ruto's bid for the presidency? What strategy would you apply? Now, the answer to that question will enable us to understand very clearly what the recent interview on NTV, which William Ruto had, where he said nobody owes him a debt, we'll be able to understand that interview much more intimately, and also we'll be able to know or guess very accurately what William Ruto's strategy is going forward. And we will do that in the next episode of this very captivating series. Make sure you catch it. You know the usual drill. Look out for the link on the top left-hand corner of your screen. And as soon as that video is ready, you'll be able to click on it and go straight to it. See you there in a bit. This is Kshs, Kumekucha.